Now this for everybody fighting through the pain and the pressure. You know life will try to test you, but you promise not to give up for your mama and your sister, and your brother and your cousin, everybody else that's with you. You the one that's gonna deliver like Amazon Prime. Always on time, yeah. Even when it's looking bad, I never stop trying, cause I've been stressing, I've been crying. My depression had me blind. Sometimes I can't see the signs, but I keep going, I ain't lying. This for everyone that's grinding for their kids, you're not alone. This for every child that promised they gon' buy their mama home. For all my 9-to-5ers going hard to make that green clock out, then you just go harder, cause you still got chase that dream. For all my starving, evolving artists, just keep going hard, regardless how people talking about us. You gon' build that startup.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special LinkedIn Live. I'm billed with June Colorizzo. I am a tech recruiter and career coach. And I haven't done a LinkedIn Live, I want to say for a little bit, I think over 2 months now. And I'm really excited to have a very special guest, one of my dear friends, fellow career coaches, content creator. He's also a deputy lead engineer at Boeing, a father, founder of career non-traditional college success. Arnold Morales here today, and we are going to be just catching up on life. And then he's going to be sharing, I feel like he's my resident college expert. He's going to be sharing some tips and best practices for all of you college grads as you're entering the job search. So let's go ahead and welcome Arnold. Hello.
Hey, June.
How are you?
Great. Excited to be back.
I know, it's been a while. I feel like you're like like I said, my resident college expert.
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm starting to become that college expert. Everybody looks for college advice. I'm like, cool. Why not?
Well, you're the perfect person. Thank you everyone for being here. I know it's been a while, but do you want to, before we catch up, do you want to do a little intro to yourself for the community?
Sure. So I'm in the day, I'm a deputy lead engineer at Boeing on commercial airplanes, and then in the afternoons I create content all around helping non-traditional engineering students and early career professionals land their dream jobs. So that's like the main focus. But recently there's been a lot of questions around personal branding, networking, LinkedIn, a lot of that good stuff. So I've been doing a lot of presentations about that recently. I also run non-traditional college success, where we pretty much do what I do, is help students land a dream job, but that's kind of like our free side. So we do a lot of like for students, and then I kind of do like the early career on the side. So that's kind of a little bit of intro about me. I have a 2-year-old, so we're talking about that today, and pretty much that's the summary.
Yeah, nice summary. I love it. Gosh, you have so many titles. I feel like I'm wondering how you juggle everything, but I know you have a really great support system. Well, let's catch up, Arnold. We met during the pandemic, during the peak of the pandemic. We have mutual friends, one of them being Steven, one of our favorite fellow career coaches and also engineers. But I've been seeing you in action. I'm so impressed by all of these speaking engagements that you've been doing. I'm going to pull up your LinkedIn feed right now. And it's just so inspiring to see, because we met at the beginning of your journey as being a content creator, career coach, working on your personal brand. And now that we're still somewhat in a pandemic, but seeing you in action, having the opportunity to speak at organizations such as this one right here, which was a fundraising dinner. It's just so inspiring to see. So how has it been for you to finally take this opportunity to get out of the virtual space and speak at in-person events like this?
It's been amazing. So like, I love speaking, right? I love doing presentations. You want a banana? Come on, say hi.
This is the beauty of working remote, y'all.
Come over here.
And fatherhood right here.
Amelia that wants a banana. Say hi, Amelia.
She looks so happy.
She's so shy now. You're not shy. Come on. She's a dance. She's like loves dancing. At all the parties, she's dancing in the dance floor. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, she's probably dancing a bunch on your wedding too, right?
Yeah. So okay, she'll go get her banana. So yeah, it's been amazing going to events. So I love doing speaking engagements, right? This is like the main thing that I enjoy doing, and going back to organizations like La Plaza. La Plaza, I think it was like 7 years ago, they gave me a Young Latino Leader Award. So that's kind of how I really started believing in myself, that I was a leader and I could do more for society. So I started doing speaking, like with them. I did small speaking engagements, and that kind of kicked off more and more things. And now being able to go back and being their main guest speaker and just
Wow.
talking to all of them about how they changed my life and how they need to go donate money was amazing. And like a lot of other cool things I've been presenting at lately, where they just say, Arnold, you want to come present here? And I'm like, sure, why not?
I'm like looking at all your fear right now. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of speaking engagements, and you just had your wedding
Yes.
reception here. I love that you share all of this on LinkedIn with your community. Tell me about
Yes.
this.
Someone just sent me a message saying me I'm the what was it? You look like the happiest person on LinkedIn. And I'm like, now that I think about it, they
You
haven't met you.
do.
That's why. They haven't
No,
met
no,
you.
no, no,
Because
no.
you're
You
like one
are.
of the most happiest hype person that I know. So that's awesome. But yeah, they're like, you look like one of the happiest person on LinkedIn. So that was just sharing that I'm also an engineer in at work and then in life too. So
Oh, I love that. So congratulations on everything. I can't
thank you.
believe like you've just been doing such great work here on LinkedIn in your community, um helping the Hispanic community, college students, everyone. So I just want to say thank you. You're doing all this, for your family, and you want to inspire others to follow your path. So why don't we go ahead and get into it and talk about topics today? Career advice for dads and grads. And as I mentioned before, Arnold is like my resident college expert, where he definitely has a passion of helping people that come from non-traditional college careers start a successful career in engineering, right? So what inspired you to do this?
Yeah, so I guess the what inspired me to help others, it really is. If it wasn't for the people who helped me, I wouldn't have been able to get where I've been able to get. So I feel like I don't feel like I'm helping others. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. What people did for me. So it was interesting because today I was walking by one of my previous mentors. He was my first engineering mentor, and he's a manager now at the company. And I'm like passing by, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. He was like my mentor when I was a college student. He was the one that picked me up at the airport when I got my job with the same company that he works, and now he's like a manager. So I was looking at that today. So it's like all those people that helped me. It's thanks to them. So I do the same thing now for other people.
You're like paying it forward, right?
Yep. We're
I
paying it
love that.
backwards, I guess, in this case.
Paying you backwards forward,
Yeah.
forward to know exactly
Yeah.
backwards. So let's talk about like right now we're definitely like in a very interesting job market, right? What do you think are some of the biggest challenges right now for people as they are graduating college, as they're entering this job market, know nothing about networking or LinkedIn or how to put themselves out there or even how to interview? Like, if you kind of could circle back to where you were when you graduated, what are some of the things that you wish you knew today that you would have known before?
Yeah, I think so. So even like when I graduated, right, I still didn't know all these techniques that work, like LinkedIn. I didn't use LinkedIn when I graduated. Now it's like to go use LinkedIn. So like both of us, we're like go use LinkedIn, everyone, and it works. I think like in the last year and a half, I've had like 30 clients, and like for last year, it was 100% success rate. They're all getting jobs because they're getting referrals through LinkedIn, and that's just like the referrals, like just throw it off completely. I did the dumb way, which is like just work really, really hard to get in and like apply, just talk. But the best way is going through referrals, going through LinkedIn. That just accelerates everything. So now I share that with other people. And those are the things that I didn't know when I was a student that I wish I knew now that I've been on the other side recruiting and hiring.
Yeah, let's actually go backtrack here. And let me, before I ask you this question, our Stephen Lou's here. Hi, Stephen. He's saying hello before heading out to
Hey,
buy pizza
Steven.
for the Warriors game. Go Warriors. I think it's game 7 tonight. So go Warriors. I want to say hi
Hello,
to
Steven.
Shannon, Laura, Wazami. Good to see you all. I want to talk about that. You said that you did it the dumb way. Well, it's not the dumb way. I would say it's expected to apply. And I want to say that you were applying over hundreds of applications. I think I saw this somewhere in a post at Boeing. How many times did you apply to Boeing before
So
you
this was
actually
an
got an
interesting
interview?
one. At Boeing, right? So I applied like the first time to like 30 jobs. I was looking for internships. pretty much I applied to everything that had an internship on it. Even to like things that I don't even meet the requirements, like marketing internships. I'm an engineer. Why am I applying to marketing internships? I'm just wasting my time at that point. I was so I was just wasting my time. The second year, I didn't get anything, obviously, because I wasn't targeting. So go target roles. The second year, I was like, okay, I'm a little bit better now. I'm a little bit smarter now. I'm gonna target engineering roles. But it was still too vague. And then the third year, that's the year that I still didn't get anything. The third year that I applied, and this is like applying for 30, then I applied to like 10 positions. And I actually, when I got my Boeing job, I didn't apply to any position. I was just like, you know what? I already know that the career fairs, that's where people get interviews. I know exactly what I want to be. I want to be a systems engineer. And I went to them, I want to be a systems engineer. They had systems engineering positions open. And then they told me, Arnold, before we interview you, you have to go apply to this position. So I actually got in without applying, but then I had to apply because the paperwork.
Like for the logistics wise, right?
Yep.
Wait, let me backtrack here. So you're saying that, okay, so you've been applying to Boeing for 3 years,
Yep.
right? You said that the first year you're applying to all internships. You basically got your degree in engineering, but you were applying for marketing internships.
Yep, everything.
So
HR.
that's that's like the first like thing that you shouldn't be doing is like not having a targeted job search strategy. It's basically you're just kind of trying to put crap on the wall to see if it sticks, right? And you said like
spray and pray.
What's that? Spray and pray.
Spray your resume everywhere, then you start spraying when someone looks at it.
So you said you wasted so much time doing that. Can I ask you, like, what was like, if you could go back into that time frame, what were you thinking when you were doing that, when you're applying for all positions, even if they were not in your specific area of expertise? What were you thinking? Like, were you thinking like you were playing the lotto and just kind of like hoping that someone would? Yeah,
I was thinking that it was a numbers game. I'm like, I applied to more, I'll have more opportunities to get a position.
Yeah.
Which I always just had a really, really tiny opportunity at each, which just doesn't really add up as much as you would think. But that's what I was thinking. I was like, I applied to everywhere, and eventually one of them will look at it and they'll want to pick me.
Got it. And then the second year, what did you do differently? You're doing the same thing?
Yeah, that second year I was focused on engineering, right? So I actually got interviews. That was the other thing, that I got interviews. So I was like, man, I'm close. And they would give me feedback after, and they would say, honestly, that year they were like, we just had so many great candidates and we had to pick by like some tiny thing, but there's nothing that you could do that would improve your odds. You just need to keep applying. So they also motivated me to keep applying. And then I'm just stubborn. Like everywhere I'm stubborn. So I'm gonna get it. And like I think about, right, my way of thinking is, you're not failing, you're just not there yet. So if you keep trying, you never fail. So you just keep on going until it happens. So it's like nominations. We were talking about this. I got nominated last year for an award. I'm getting nominated again this year for those awards. So hopefully I get it this year. But if not, then the next year I'll apply again. I'll get nominated again. Like I just keep on trying to get there until it eventually happens. And then they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky." And I'm like, "Well, I just applied like 20 million times, but."
Yeah, it's not all luck though. Like it's all basically all of like experiences that you have to go through to get where you are today, right? And I know that like the second year around you were interviewing. Unfortunately, you weren't able to like land a position then. But in the third year, this is where you became more laser focused. You were telling yourself, I wanted to do system engineering. And did you say that you didn't apply, but you just started having conversations with people?
At the career fair, because I knew that if I was at the career fair, they would give me an interview if they liked me, because from the previous ones that I've gone to. And so this is 3 years, right? Each year I tried twice. So one in the school and then one at a conference. So I would fly to conferences and try there again. But I was also getting other opportunities. So if I didn't get the Boeing one, I did get a Northrop Grumman one, which is another huge company. But every year, aside from just applying again or targeting more, I was also improving myself. So that's the other thing, like, right, you keep applying, but you also need to improve, because if you're just doing the same thing, then you probably won't ever get it. But you always need to be improving. Yeah,
that makes complete sense. And it's just so funny that like the third time's a charm, right? Third year around, you were becoming laser focused. You wanted to get into system engineering. You started having conversations at people at the career fair, and they told you to apply.
They were like, we want to interview you. And then when I was like, oh, okay. And then they sent me an email being like, oh, Arnold, before we interview, go apply to this position.
See? Yeah. And so now you're saying that you wish you would have done that in the very beginning, because you probably could have stayed 3 years.
Targeted, I would have done referrals and network, because it really is like people hire people, not systems, not resumes. So at the end of the day, you need people to hire you, and you need people to advocate for you.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. So let's talk about that. Like those three things: targeted job search, referrals, and you said what was the last thing?
Um, what was it? Targeted referrals. I think it was network. I think it was like
Oh,
just
and
building a network.
networking. It's kind
Yeah.
of like tied into referrals, right? So let's
We
talk about
went
it.
from career advice for grads and that. I guess yeah, grads trying to get
It's
a
all,
job.
and actually, you know what?
Yeah, it
It's
all
advice
falls
for,
in.
it's
Yeah,
advice for everyone: college
yeah, it's advice for
grads,
everyone.
grads, people that have recently just experienced a layoff, and it just
Or
like my
they
heart. Every day on my feed, I see so much updates around layoffs happening, and this is why I wanted to go back on live to share advice, because I know the title here is career advice for dads and grads, but this is really advice for anyone looking to make
yeah.
a career change, right? So let's talk about like the targeted job search for college grads or just people that are on the job market. Why is it so important to have some career clarity in the front end to basically know? Like for me, I always tell people it's best to narrow down your top positions to like two to three different roles that's like interchangeable, right? Why do you think it's so important to do that in the front end?
Yeah, because then like even like company, right? So target companies and target roles, because you can then like be specific about why you're a good fit for that. I think like on the coaching with interview coaching that I do, most of the time people are just too vague. They just tell you like, oh, I love aerospace. Yeah, so does everyone in line. Why do you love aerospace? Why is that true? Oh, because I've been in flight training. Oh, because of that. So those specifics, and you can't have specific answers for things unless you have a target on what you want to go do. So like your resume, right? You need to target that position. And you can't target a position if you don't know what your target is. So you need to find out first your target, and then you kind of tweak everything to make sure that if you seem like the perfect fit for each of those roles.
That's so true. I love that. Like understanding the roles that you are like excited about, and then basically extracting all of the strengths that you'll bring for that employer for that position, and then also not having such a very vague or general answer. Like the thing is that we talk about all the time that we're both passionate about is like your personal brand, right? That's like your differentiator factor, right? What makes you unique, right? So
Right.
why do you think it's important, like when people ask you like why aerospace, why this and that, why do you think it's so important to personalize that answer and just bring a little bit more of like your personality and your story?
Yeah, because that makes you stand out. Everyone else, if they're gonna give the same answer, or like I'm a hard worker. Like yeah, sure, everybody else is too. So to stand out, you have to give those examples. I'm a hard worker, and then if you give an example that's specific to them, like hey, that's some of the work that we do, then it's like oh, perfect. This person's a perfect fit.
Mm,
So I always make sure like when I'm talking to students, like hey, or people that have interviews, look through the job description and make sure you know every single word on that job description. You understand what it is. If you don't know what it is now, go on YouTube, go on Google, go look it up, go do some research. That way, if they ask you about it, you know what it is, and and you can just tell them like, "Oh, I've done some research on this. I'm not an expert, but it seems something really interesting. You can talk about it." So that's like the big things, right? So, and then the stuff that you do have experience in, then you can focus on your interviews on talking about those things.
mhm.
So they can say, "Oh, wow, this person is really a perfect fit." Like no one cares about you. Like tell me about yourself. That's the question is not really tell me about yourself. They're in reality what they want to know is are you a perfect fit for this role? So when you're telling about yourself, you're really just explaining like why you're the perfect for this role.
Yeah, you're basically selling yourself,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I
No,
think
no
it's
one
great.
wants to hear that you're the third son of or your mom. You come from this. There's some parts that are interesting, right? Like hobbies. Some things like make you more relatable. Those are interesting to add in, but that's not shouldn't be like the meat of your content. It should be the little spices, I guess, or something like that.
Yes, you want to sprinkle in like basically it's like your time to sell yourself and sell
Yeah.
your experience that are relevant to this position and what's going to differentiate you from the other candidates, right? Another, I think a great tip that I give people when they're prepping for their interviews, my candidates or just job seekers in general, is take a look at the company's website, their
Oh,
core values, right? They have five core values. If they have specific values, use that as a foundation for your prep and come up with different stories that are aligned with those values, right? That's going
oh
to
yeah.
be, it's like, it's yours. And like when it comes to interviewing too, like just think of it, I always tell people, think of it as like a first date. You're exchanging stories, examples. You're trying to see if you're a great fit for each other to pursue a relationship. What are your thoughts on that as far as like prepping there?
No, that's great. And I actually have a newsletter, and I started to put articles, and I put an article around
Nice.
interviews. And I really gave all my advice around interviews, and that is one of them. Like, you're always gonna get asked, why do you want to work at that company? Why? They're gonna ask you, tell me about yourself or something like that. But in reality, why are you perfect for this role? And they're always gonna ask you, do you have any questions for me? And then to answer the first one of why you want to work at that company, you have to know about the company. You have to go into their mission and vision and tell them. I call it the 3 Ps. You should always tell them, hey, I want to work at your company because of the people. I really like people, and now you have a network. So you build a network, so you can say, oh, I know people at work there. They're really cool. I want to work with them. The other P is their products. So you need to understand their products and why you like them. And then the other one, like their purpose. What was it? Product? Yeah. Like, what is the big mission? And being specific, right? Like, hey, I care about connecting the world. Like Boeing's is connect, explore, defend, explore, connect, something like that. Connect, defend, and explore the world. So I'm like, oh, I love connecting. I'm from Honduras. So the world, Boeing makes the world smaller because we build airplanes and I can get to Honduras in 2 hours versus trying to drive there for like 30 hours. So you add really specific things of why you're a fit. And that the only way you'll know that is by doing what you said, is to go on the website.
Yeah, I love that. You said product, people,
product, people, and purpose. Yeah.
Product, people, and purpose. I love that. Did you come up with that?
I don't know.
You probably did. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I think I might have saw something about 3 Ps, like, but for something else, and then I just copied it and used it for like answering that specific interview question of why do you want to work at that company.
Yeah, it's very simplistic. 3 things just to remember and to touch on when you're answering that question. Why do you want to work here? People, product, purpose. Love that. Now let's talk about what a lot of new grads or just people in general are intimidated by, is the whole networking thing, especially because, I know we're having in-person events, but everything's done online now. A lot of
it's awkward to have your first in-person event after so many years.
Is it awkward?
It's super awkward. I was like, whoa, I'm an expert networker. I forgot how to network. This is so weird. At the first conference, or like, I think it was a conference that I went to or something, I was like, this is so weird. I forgot how to network. I feel awkward.
Did you I want to ask you this, is something sidetracked here. Were you passing out business cards? Like the last time I went to an in-person networking event, it's like passing out business cards, shaking hands. So I want to ask you, what was the difference of doing a networking event and conference today versus pre-pandemic?
Man, I don't want to put people on spots, but so depending on where I went, it was different. So I went to one conference, right? College students. They're all LinkedIn. Like, oh, let's use our phones. Let's use the QR code.
Scan my QR code. Yeah.
Like some people didn't know what that was, but they all had LinkedIn. So everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. So it was easy, right? So that networking was less awkward. It was weird talking to people like after not seeing people for so long. And then I went to another one that it was a fundraising type event. So that one, everyone it's much more senior. I saw someone that put the other day, I'm a senior engineer, and then in parentheses, senior but not old. So I thought that was hilarious. Like senior, and then in parentheses, but not old. Random comment. But so it was a lot more senior people. So they were actually giving their business cards, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. We don't do LinkedIn.
Did you have one?
I'm like, crap, I forgot all my business cards. I left all my business cards at home, and it was like I was in a different state. So I was kind of disappointed that I forgot my business cards there, but I thought everybody did LinkedIn already.
Yeah.
So keep your business cards and your LinkedIn ready.
No, yeah, keep everything ready. What was I going to say? Okay, so yeah. So why do you think it's so intimidating for people to spark up conversations and network?
Because it's awkward. Like it really, and that's the thing. Like it's awkward for everyone, and everyone is there with the same purpose, right? So if you go with the purpose of networking, so then it's awkward, but everyone is trying to do it, so it's perfect. So like we're all trying to get through it together. The other thing is we don't do it often enough. So like there was a point before the pandemic that I got really good at networking, and it was just because I was just used to it. I would just go up to people and say hi. If the conversation wasn't too well, then I wouldn't care, and I would go to the next person. And I would just go to the next person. And then when the conversations were good, I would stay there for a while, and I would connect with those people. It all goes around the Girl Scout cookies. So I always love to talk about this one. The Girl Scout cookie sellers. These girls are out there selling Girl Scout cookies. They're smiling and they're saying, "Do you want a Girl Scout cookie?" No. All right, whatever. Next one. Do you want a Girl Scout cookie? No. Then the next one. Do you want a Girl Scout cookie? Yes. So it really is that getting used to like the rejection or the used to like I guess failure, but in that case like the awkwardness that doesn't work out. So it's the same when you're networking. Like go up to someone if it's awkward and that's not a good conversation. All right, whatever. Next,
Yeah.
and you don't care about it. But if you don't do it often, like the Girl Scout cookies in that case, your first couple of times you'll feel really really self-doubt and all that stuff about it because you're not doing it enough.
Yeah. It's all about like building up your resilience, right? And
Yeah.
just getting in that momentum and just flexing that muscle. And like let's talk before I see your question, Laura, we're gonna answer it in a bit. But when it comes to trying to network on LinkedIn through the DMs, through comments, I feel like it's definitely a numbers game too, because you're going to reach out to people, you're going to send DMs, you may not get a response, but it's like there's what over 740 million people on LinkedIn. Numbers probably definitely increased since I last checked. But what are your tips there when it comes to strategic, thoughtful messaging or even commenting, or any general tips on how to effectively network on LinkedIn?
That's a great question. Number one thing, find something you have in common with someone.
Mhm.
If you don't have anything in common with someone, then you're wasting your time. And then also target the people you're trying to talk to, right? If not, if you just want to network with everyone, then for what purpose? So like what I tell clients, it's like, hey, go look for 10 companies that you really want to work for, 5 to 10 companies, and go target people that work at those companies that have something in common with you. So number one thing, schools, alumni. Go look for the
Mhm.
alumni because they're more than happy to help you. It's like in college students, when I tell them this, they're like, how am I going to go bug a professional? They're busy. And I'm like, if a high school student asks you for advice on college, how do you feel? They're like, oh, I feel honored. Exactly. That's how the early career and the professionals feel when college students ask them for advice, they feel honored. So I'm like, always go talk to alumni from your school. If you can't find you will find alumni. And the other one is people that are part of organizations that you're part of. So me, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, go find people that have been involved with that. Even if they were involved with that in the past, it will still show up. So you can, and that's something that I can relate to. Even silly things like your name. Like go look up all
Ooh,
the Arnolds at the
I
company.
love
Like, hey,
that.
you have the same name. Your parents have great taste. Or like last names, like cousin, like anything, right? If you're part of groups, so like if you're, let's say, you're part of one of June's communities, then you can reach
Yes.
out to people like, hey, I'm part of June's community. I saw you were too. So you need to find something in common. If not, they'll don't just reject you automatically. And your first message should not be a sales pitch on, hey, get me a job at the company. It's
No.
just a message to connect with them. That's step one, connect with them. After that, you want to learn about them. Then you want to support them. And then after that, you want to get a referral. But you really need to build a relationship before you're asking random stuff. I get so many messages, and June probably does too, especially like as a recruiter, like just people sending their resume and I've never met them. I just ignore them. I just skip the next one. So
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, you definitely want to build that relationship first before you go for the ask. Like to listen, engage. It's like basically I'm gonna refer back to dating. You're not gonna ask, I mean, people have probably done this before, but are you gonna ask someone to marry them in the first date? Probably not. Is that what you do with your wife? Just
no,
kidding.
no, that's hilarious. 'Cause that's true. It's like it might happen. Like some crazy person might just say
Yeah.
yes. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
No. And then was I
I'm gonna
going to
steal that
say
one, June.
was I going to say too? Yeah, and just be like you said, leverage commonalities, college, your alumni, communities, nonprofits that you're part of, or say
Yeah.
if you're actually actively posting on LinkedIn, creating content, start engaging in their content, having conversations. So when it's time to knock on the door and ask them to get on a networking call, they're going to be like, "Oh, what Arnold? I know Arnold. He's been commenting on my posts, my articles." Asking me really great questions. Of course, I'm going to have a call with him. So it's all about just like building that rapport online, and
Yeah.
flexing that muscle. And I feel like a lot of people are doing that right now during this time, and it's like something good to lean on. I want to answer Laura's question here. Laura, she says, I'm going to have you answer this. Can you say something in regards to negotiating your pay salary ahead of time, maybe prior to your initial interview? Is that good or bad?
So it's funny because June gave salary negotiation advice on
Oh,
my live once. So I'll
it
give
was your
advice.
pod. Wait, was
It
it
was a podcast.
podcast?
Yeah, it was a
It was on
podcast.
my
Yeah.
live. It
Okay,
was on
I don't
my
remember,
live.
but June gave advice for me, like in my group on salary negotiation. So that's funny. Um, but the thing with salary negotiation, right? Since the beginning, you already know what a range is. Either the position says it, or you can look it up online, or like right? Like in my case, engineering roles. I kind of can guess what a position would range around. So I don't want to talk about money until the end. And there's several reasons
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Mm-hmm.
One is you don't want to automatically put yourself out of the game, right? Because you're talking about money initially. And the other one is at the end, if so, and I'll tell you what to say if they ask you. But at the end, if they've interviewed you, they've gone through all that process. At the end of that, they really want you. They've invested in you, and you tell them, "Oops, no, not enough money. We want more." Then they'll be much more thinking of giving that because they love you by now. They love you now. And at the beginning, they don't even know you, so they'll be like, okay, whatever, next, skip to the next person. And they do ask you for so you do not want to bring up money until you get an offer. And that's my advice, right? Maybe June can have something else, but we'll ask her. And I tell people all this time, like opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone has one, so it really is up to you to get different opinions and understand what you think is right. But we kind of agree on a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So that one, always talk about money until the end. If they ask you though, I would just tell them like, oh, I'm right now, I'm trying to find a perfect fit for me and a perfect fit for the role, and we can talk about money later. I'm not really interested in that portion, or I'm not trying to talk about that right now. And I have like a really good prompt that I have, but it's something
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's like a good answer. I think it's also good to say, like, if they do ask you, is saying that if you're not ready to share your number, but you could say something like, well, I evaluate all these opportunities holistically when I'm looking at the role, the culture, the benefits, all of that, right? And I need more information before I tell you or before I decide,
Yeah.
right? I love that answer. I'm going to give you a quick answer to Richard. Richard asks, what would be a good job to do online, trying to help a friend? I think there's a lot of opportunity right now online to do so much work, like in marketing, digital marketing, copywriting, content creation. There's just so much. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. So I would suggest to your friend to research there. Um, okay, last thing before we talk about, I have some questions about you being a dad and fatherhood and all that. What's like your tip on gaining referrals to these companies? I feel like you're one of like the referral pros here, and especially like for people that don't have networks at these large corporations
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Boeing.
So that first step, right? Connecting with them. First step, connecting with them. You have to find something in common so they connect with you. So now you have something in common. Step two is set up a 15-minute tag up with them. Ask them, hey,
Mhm.
can we tag up for 15 minutes? I would love to learn more about you. And most of the time, the people, especially like if you have something in common, they'll probably say yes. 15 minutes, no, 30 minutes too long. No one has time for you. 5 minutes not enough. So 15 minutes usually a good time frame. In those 15 minutes, all you do is learn about that person. You do not sell yourself. You do not start telling them why you're great. No, all you do is you go ask them for advice, you learn about them, and you've done your research. You've gone through their LinkedIn and you know it specifically. So they see like, oh, this person's interested, and this person's actually did their research on me. In those 15 minutes, if you're just listening and asking them questions, automatically, unconsciously, they're gonna like you because most people
Mhm.
love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about
That's
themselves.
why
And then
you're here, Arnold.
yeah, exactly. I love to talk about myself, so I'm here. That's exactly why I'm here. So people love to talk about themselves, and then they'll automatically like you just because that, and they'll think you're a great conversationalist when in reality all you did was listen.
Yes.
And then after that, you send them another, say thank you for meeting up. So that's another message. So they're seeing your name more and more times. Then after that, if they post anything or comment anything, go like it or go comment on their post. It's like Facebook or Instagram. When you post a picture and no one likes it, it's really awkward. Some people even take it down. I've taken down pictures because no one likes it. So it's like the same thing when you post something on LinkedIn, no one likes it. So if you're that 1, 2 people that like someone else's post, they're gonna feel appreciation for you. And then start creating content yourself. That way they're seeing your name. People see you. If you're great content, either they're liking it or not. So that's a great way. I've met people that they're like, Arnold, I love your content. In my head, I'm like, I've never seen you post or like any of my content, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Awesome.
There's silent lurkers out there,
Yeah.
you know?
So, and you're seeing like each of these interactions they're seeing you. So like I've mentioned like 4 or 5 by now, actually 6 I've mentioned. And then the seventh one, just tag up another time with them, especially if they've seen you around now. And at that time you throw out the referral question. You're like, hey, I know this is pretty quick or pretty out there, but could you give me a referral into the company? If they've talked to you twice and they've seen you like 7 times now, they're more than likely gonna say yes. It's free for them to do. They know they're like you're likable because the second time, and that's like the time frame, like a month or two. So you don't have to be like 2 years networking with someone.
Yeah, I
So
love that. I love that. Those are all great tips there. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and I think like also too, like with networking, if you're just having these conversations, you're also like practicing your interviewing skills, so, like putting yourself out there, asking questions, listening, active listening, right? And like say even if you don't feel like the timing is not right to ask for a referral, I want to ask you, like, what is your tip to continue the conversation? Say you had a really good networking call, you don't feel like you have the courage to ask them yet for a referral. What is your tip on like following up with them?
yeah, if it's the second time that you're talking to them, like an actual one-on-one, just ask them. Even if you don't feel comfortable, just ask. The worst they're gonna say is no, and then you go back to what you were in the past where you didn't have a referral, and then you go to the
Yeah,
next person you're talking to. So you really want to be talking to more than one person in case that one doesn't come through. And then at the point, like you just want one recommendation from each company, right? You don't need 10 referrals, you just need one. So once you hit one referral for one company, you go to the next one. And that's honestly like, kind of the way that all my clients get jobs, like the referrals, then they kill it at the interview, and then they get a job.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so and then if you don't feel comfortable, then just continue the conversation by posting, so they might like your stuff, or commenting or liking on their post, and then reaching out directly to people just to send out like summaries of your life. Some people recommend that, like, hey, every time you have a milestone, send it to them. Like, I personally don't like that because I don't care. Like, if someone's like, why are they sending me this? I don't care. I feel it's weird, but some people do that, so I'm like, it works, I guess. But some people will be happy for that. I just put it on LinkedIn. Then everybody that likes it, that they like it, and I can see who's liking and commenting on my stuff, and then I
Yeah.
use those people for referrals.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, that's a great way to actually build your network of people that you can reach out to referrals. So just creating content, and I think it's the best way to promote your personal brand as well. Okay, let's talk about fatherhood really quick before I let you go. What is like your tips for like any general advice for like new dads out there? I mean, your daughter is 2,
She's gonna turn 3 in July. Time is
3 in
flying by. I
July.
know.
Oh my gosh. So you had
Yeah,
her right before
I had her.
COVID.
So I started creating content around when she was born. So I took my paternity leave, and so I would spend like half of the day with her, or like most of the day, and then like the off hours I had to do something for myself. I'm not gonna spend, like, because we were two, right? My wife was on maternity leave, so we would kind of like balance out throughout the day, and then her mom, with her babe Amelia's grandma, my wife's mom, was here too, so we kind of had like people for her. So I would take a break from just being with the family for like 2-3 hours, and that's kind of how I started doing content. They kind of finally had that space of time to create content. And then COVID hit, so it was like, so now we're home all day stuck together.
So let's
So
spend
then
more time doing
I
it.
need to relax by
Need an
myself.
outlet.
Yeah, I need an outlet, so I used creating content.
Yeah.
And then would say your initial part of the question was some tips. I would say like priorities, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, getting a job, I will not work at a company that works more than 50 hours a week. That's me. That's my priority. I barely want to work at a job that works more than 40 hours. So you can fight me on more than I usually say to people like, oh, okay, when they say 45, 50, I'm like, I'm probably not gonna do that, but okay.
Disqualifier, yes.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll try if like every now and then I can. But like priorities, because it's what's more important for you. Like, do you live to work, or do you work to
To
live?
live.
Because I
Yeah.
work to live. Like I make money so I can
Same.
go enjoy. And I if Boeing wouldn't be paying, I love my job. I love working at Boeing. I think about this, like I was thinking about this time, like, man, I really like working here. But they still have to pay me to go. If not, I would be
Yeah.
like on the beach or something much more fun. So I would say your priorities, have those really straight. You want to be with your family because you don't want to be the absent parent. If you had an absent parent, then you probably don't want to mimic that. And if
Yeah.
you had a parent that was always there, then you probably want to be like that parent. So I would say priorities, making sure that person is main. Other tips I would say is like the time you're with your child, try to focus on them.
Be
Because
present.
yeah, if people have like 2 hours, it's better to be focused 2 hours than to be them 10 hours and you're on your phone, and
Mm-hmm.
like you're not paying attention to them. And
Mm-hmm.
then time flies by. So like you're seeing that person grow, and like you don't want to miss out. So I've declined jobs on a lot of travel because I wanted to see her grow. So
Oh, yeah. And it's such a fragile age too. And I feel
yeah,
like it just goes by fast. I mean, my kids are like 5 and 8 right now. And you're definitely gonna have your hands full with having a daughter. I'll tell you
yeah.
that.
Yeah, my wife's
Um,
already asking for the second one. I'm like, whoa, 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 calm down. Our plans to have three, but like
well, you
eventually.
better
But
get to work then.
I know.
You
One
should.
is kids are a lot of work. I don't know how people do it. Like people have like 6 kids or something. I don't know how they do it.
I know, and kudos to them, and kudos to like all the single moms out there that are also like acting as both parents. So
Yeah, that's rough
kudos to
because
you.
we're 50-50. Like I do everything also. Like
I love that.
yeah, because there's like I'm Hispanic, so like we have a really side where it's like, oh, the woman does the diaper changes and all that. Especially like going to Honduras right now vacation, everybody's like, Arnold does diapers, Arnold does this, and like yeah, well, I pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
And then my wife had a family emergency, so she went to Honduras and left her with me for like a week or two, and everybody was
How was
amazed. Like
that?
Arnold stayed with her for 2 weeks. Like yeah, it's her dad. Why? What's wrong with him? He can't take care of a baby. Like why can't he take care of a toddler?
Wow.
So that's one thing, right? I'm not sure where I was going with this. What was I
No, I
asking?
love that. No, I love that. Like it's
Irrelevant.
50-50. No, it's relevant for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, my husband's the same way. Like it's, I want to say, like right now, it's probably like 60-40,
Yeah.
where
So
he does.
we do the task. Like I do everything. 50-50. Probably she does more most of the time, to be honest with you. But I do
Yeah,
do a lot of it. We do rock, paper, scissors. Who changes diapers though?
I love that.
Yeah.
Last question. What is your favorite part of being a dad?
I feel like there's two parts that I really, really enjoy. One is every time I see her after I haven't seen her for like 30 minutes. Like even like if I haven't seen her for like 2 hours and she sees me, she'll be excited. So every time I go pick her up at daycare, she sees me, she's like, Daddy! And then she throws everything, goes, grabs her stuff, and goes running to give me a hug. I love that. Or in the mornings, like she'll wake up and she'll like be like, oh, Daddy, I love you. Like I love that aspect. I remember a friend of mine, and I kind of laughed at this. He was like, well, I have a dog, and like I didn't have a kid at that time. And he had the one friend had a toddler, like a baby, and the or no, a toddler, and the other friend just got a dog. He's like doing a dog is like it was kind of like a kid, right? So it's like kind of like my kid. There is some similarities actually. You're teaching them, but
For sure.
yeah. But then he's like, well, yeah, but your baby can't tell you I love you. And then I was like, huh, interesting. And I didn't really cared about it until now. And I'm like, oh wow, like it's huge when your daughter says like I love you and gives you like a hug. So I love that. That's one of my favorite things, like her just being so excited to see me. The other thing is like seeing them grow, like seeing
Mm.
your hard work and them complete milestones and accomplishments. So like my daughter goes to soccer and she was born with leg deformities. So for her, like she's always behind on milestones with like her legs and all that stuff, and like gross motors, fine motor, she's amazing. Gross motor, she's always behind. So in her soccer, it was like okay, it's that time of year where they decide if you go up a level or not. And usually I'm like, oh, my daughter's always gonna be behind on that. Like probably not gonna go to the next level, but whatever, we'll see what happens. And then I get the card and it says she's ready for the next level. So I feel so like if it was my accomplishment, I feel like that was more impressive
Yeah.
than any award or anything that I've ever received. I was just like, man, I'm great. So those like seeing my daughter do accomplishments and knowing that it's been hard work that my wife, myself, and even like our village, because my like
It's a
kids is not
village,
just
yeah.
yeah, it's a village. It's like teams of people like from my daughter. Like it's ridiculous. So there was like so daughter special needs. So there was like one day where I was in a meeting. There were like 10 adults, and all we were talking about is my daughter and making sure she was meeting our milestones. I was like, damn, we literally have a
Oh
team of people
my
working
god.
here. And yeah, she's amazing. She's coming here asking for bananas. So
Oh, Amelia, right?
yeah, Amelia.
Oh, she's gonna. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for her to be the big sister
Yeah.
to your two other
Oh yeah.
future kids.
So it's hard when you want to travel on vacation with a kid now, though. We went to the beach and stuff. I was like, oh my god, it's so hard. I take a babysitter everywhere I go now. My wife's sister is our professional babysitter.
I mean, that's why we take my mom everywhere. She's our professional babysitter
Yeah, dude, that's
everywhere.
the way to do it. That you're like, all right, go ahead, enjoy your tia, your aunt, and go have fun. And I go have fun.
Well, that's the benefit. Like maybe you should wait then, so she's a little bit older, so she can help, with the diapers and everything.
Yeah.
Um, okay, on the last question, what are you excited about for the rest of the year? Anything that you want to share with the community? Anything? How can people find you?
Yeah, definitely. How can people find me? Go look me up on LinkedIn, Arnold Morales, Arnold the Engineer. A lot of content around helping people get jobs, a lot of content around career advice. Pretty much what every other career coach on LinkedIn does, except for with my flavor of things, right? I focus mostly on the aerospace engineering STEM area. So that's kind of my expertise. And then projects that I'm working on right now, I'm kind of in that phase. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. But in theory, I'm working on a book that I keep on postponing. And like I have I'm part of this group, right? A creator course on creating the book, and they're all like, Arnold, you're late. You're not meeting the deadline. So I'm trying to figure that out. But it's because I'm also doing a lot of the speaking engagements, and I prioritize those. So right now, I think for me, what's next in the near future, I've paused podcasts and other stuff that I did to focus on the book. But I do post every single day on LinkedIn. And then at work has just ramped up with deputy lead position. I'm also planning to keep on pushing at work to try to get that lead position, try to go into that management role. So I'm trying to
Yes.
get opportunities like that role. Right now, like these 2 months is like usually the application and nomination months where like you're applying to all these roles, like all these leadership opportunities, you're applying to all these programs and you're getting nominated for things. So we'll see like 3 months from now what I was able to get into.
Ooh, well, I'm excited for you. I told you before we hopped on live, but this is definitely your year, and I'm just so proud to see everything that you've been doing. Keep it up. I'm now trying to catch up with you. I can't believe you're posting every day. That's wild to me.
Yeah, I make sure I post Monday through Friday at a minimum. I do weekends too every now and then. And then I was on a 3 week vacation, so I did not post at all for those 3 weeks. I was
I
like,
saw
I don't
that.
care
Yeah.
about anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
can see
important to take those
the
breaks.
dip on views and stuff. Like no one saw me. Like, yeah. But who
Who
cares?
cares? Like when you come back, I mean, like I haven't been posting consistently. Just I've been taking some break for my own like personal reasons.
Yeah,
But like when you're back, everyone's
people are
here.
still there. People are still looking for
It's,
jobs. Everybody's
exactly.
looking for their careers. Yeah.
Yeah, and you at the end of the day, you got to take care of you and your family. So I'm so glad you took that break. Well, thank you, Arnold. I'm so glad that you were able to catch up. I'm so proud of you. Please connect with Arnold. I dropped his LinkedIn in the comments. I'm hoping to go live soon whenever I can. But yeah, I'll be trying to post more content to help this community in your job search and your careers. So yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good evening. Happy Father's Day, Juneteenth. Be kind to yourself and to each other, y'all.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me,
Take
June. Bye.
care.